Hey guys, I want to make a video for you. I haven't done one in a little while, and basically it's 1 Thessalonians 4:3, and it says, "For this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you should abstain from sexual immorality." Um, Now, there's an end of the passage there. They didn't stop the verse there, but we know that the verse numbers and differentiations are not necessarily inspired. But where that thought actually ends and a new thought starts is, and this is the will of God, your sanctification. And basically it's telling us that God's will for us in our lives is that we be sanctified. And that word sanctified is the active portion of the word holy. We know holy means to be set apart, and the word sanctified is it's the actual action of taking that thing and setting it aside. So God's will for our life is for us to be holy, and we know this from other passages, where the Lord had told us, be ye holy, for I am holy. Uh, we know that His will for us is to be set aside, to be available, to be a vessel to be used for His purpose, much like the vessels in the temple of the Old Testament. These were vessels that were not used for other things other than what they were specifically tasked to do, which was perform various different things within the sacrifices and so on and so forth. But the idea is that just like that, we are to be holy, we are to be sanctified, and that God's will for us is that active portion of that act of actually taking that item out of the world and sanctifying it and setting it aside for the Lord's use. And the reason that I bring this up is because, something that often plagues me, and I'm sure probably others as well, that I just kind of felt led to maybe do a video on today, is the fact that sometimes the choices that we have to make in life are not as simple as, this one is biblical and this one is not. Sometimes there's nothing inherently right or wrong about either of the options that we're faced with. So the question that we have to ask ourselves is, how does this draw us closer to God? How do both of these options draw us nearer to Him? Do they sanctify us? Do they set us apart for His use? Do they set us apart from the world, or do they just make us more like the world? And I think that's ultimately the question that we really should be asking ourselves, is not necessarily in the passive sense, is this decision wrong? Although I think a certain amount of discernment can show us that. But also in the active sense, does this particular decision make me more sanctified? Does it draw me nearer to God? Does it fill me with the Spirit? Does it enhance my relationship with God, or does it push it away? Does it compete for my time and my attention with the Lord? And if it does, then you have your answer there, because the will of God is for our sanctification, and that sanctification is to be set aside for His use. So if it's competing with Him for your time and your attention and your energy and your efforts, then that's not the will of God for your life. So, take that into consideration. Anyway, something I wanted to share with you guys. So God bless.